Hello, everyone. My name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, welcome to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather daily to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today, with us, Angel Ribo, CEO consultant, TV host, international public speaker, and president of the Wisdom for Kids Foundation, is going to be not interviewing, but co hosting with our wonderful Sunny Chase. Sunny is not only the host of this show, but also the host of ABC Solutionary Sundays. And she's the feature writer and chief strategist for Whole Lifetimes magazine, the longest running conscious life magazine in America. Sonny is a producer, moderator, and mythbuster. Before starting with them, we want to remind you that Mindalia's mission is to share information that can help raise the level of consciousness around the world. And you can help us by subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment down this video, or sharing it with someone that you know that is going to benefit of the content that we're going to be talking here today. Also, while we are live streaming, like right now, we have the active chat. Is the screen that you're going to be seeing here on my side, or if you are in your smartphone, that screen is going to be under the video. And through there, you can interact with us, enter your questions. We just please ask you to follow the format, word question in caps, and the actual question. Last but not least, Mindalia is broadcasting daily in Portuguese through Mindalia Televisão, English through Mindalia TV English, as you already know, and Spanish through Mindalia Televisión. Visit our different platforms, visit our Facebook pages, our Instagram accounts, subscribe, and help us with this to reach as much people as possible in the planet. We also want you to collaborate with us with your own valuable content. And for that, you can go to our website. On the top, you're going to find the link. It says collaborate with Mindalia. That link is going to take you to a form that you can fill out. And our technical team will be getting in contact with you. We're not delaying this any further. And I'm going to leave you with Angel and Sunny. Guys, welcome to Mindalia live streaming. The screen is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mirna, for this wonderful introduction. And welcome to Mindalia TV yet again, Sunny. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. I'm so excited to do our sort of holiday edition in between the holidays and in it. So I think it's going to be so fun to really chat about what the holidays are and what they mean to us, and just have a chat with you for a change.
Exactly. Thank you.
We both have a lot to say, so I think this will be fun.
Exactly. And you're glowing a lot because there's a lot of light around you today. The sun is going through your window, and it's making a beautiful, beautiful scene behind you. So
great. That's good to know.
Oh, absolutely. And I like those white flowers over there. What flowers are they?
They are actually they're a white kind of chrysanthemum, I think.
Oh, beautiful.
But I don't actually know. But you know what? I was just, as we were waiting, I was thinking about how today is Kwanzaa. And, you know, I love to always be the myth buster, as Mirna was saying. And I'd like to say a little bit about what Kwanzaa is, actually, because today is the second day, and it started yesterday, the day after Christmas. And it was started in the late 60s by a Black gentleman, and I'm forgetting his name right now, but he started it because it was a small little thing, because African Americans or Black people in America didn't really have their own holiday, and they didn't really feel like Christmas was their holiday or just any of the holidays. So they started this holiday in the late 60s, and then of course it really caught on, and we even have postage stamps that have Kwanzaa on them. And every day of Kwanzaa is a certain day. It has a certain meaning. And I was just pulling up what the second day is. And the second day is the pronunciation of what it is, December 27th, is Kuja Jaguya, and it means self-determination, to represent the second doctrine of the principle. The leftmost red candle is lit after the black one. So what they do is they have one black candle and then 7 red candles, and they light the second. It's kind of like Hanukkah, actually. And then I'm going to look up what the actual, let me see what the actual second day is, self-determination. They go into a whole thing about what it actually means. So each day has a quality of life, quality of goodness in in the human spirit to kind of focus on and work on. And then every night they eat a lot of food and all that. So it's really a Black holiday. So we don't get to celebrate it, but I think it's cool to not take it over, because it's not a white holiday, but to honor it. So that's what I just did.
Well, I have to confess, I never heard of this before, ever.
Mm.
So this is something that only happens here in the US. Do you know?
Yeah, yeah. And you've heard every once in a while, people will say here, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. And, and people just don't really know what it is. It's just kind of something that people throw out. So I thought I would research it and see. And yes, it is 7 days. It goes through the beginning of, after, it actually goes to January 3rd, our special day next week. So yes, every day it's a celebration and all of that. So again, with us being in the days of the holy lights, the holy days, the dark days that are cold outside and warm in our heart, hopefully around the hearth or some sort of glowing light.
Yes, and days of reflecting. The days of probably being surrounded by a lot of people. I did an experiment the other day. It was Christmas Day, actually, and there had been people that I had not been in touch for probably like the entire year, or for months. And I said, okay, let's do this experiment. Let's try to reach out with them with just a very simple Merry Christmas. I reached out to 150 people while we were cooking at home in the morning. And it was very nice, actually. I said, well, how many people are going to be maybe connected and maybe, saying Merry Christmas back or whatever. So I have to say over 130 responded, because I had these, unread messages. So people really want to be, I think that people really open their hearts. And regardless of the time that you have not been connected with them, they really want to open their hearts, and it's in a special time in the year. And probably we might even as a society underestimate this. And I think that there's a lot of possibilities for all of us to get together and to come together as what we are doing for the 3rd of January, because people are more willing to say, okay, let's leave our differences aside. We're going to meet each other anyway, or, we're going to have this meal together with the family. And there's you mentioned Kwanzaa, right? That's the right name. Okay, you mentioned Kwanzaa, but there's also cultures in Latin America that they don't celebrate, or societies in Latin America that don't celebrate anything in Christmas. And I remember spending Christmas in Cuba one year, and there was this, and nobody celebrated Christmas. Like nobody, only like a very few small community would go to the Cathedral of Havana and put, and in that very same year, there's a special name for this. When an archbishop, they publish a letter. That letter has a special name. I forgot. I am Catholic myself originally.
Oh, the special. It's like yes.
It's a letter,
yes.
But it's like a letter special for that community, and all this kind
and for
of
that
thing.
year, and it's many page. It's not just like one page.
Exactly. And the title,
it'll come to me too.
Exactly. I will never forget the title, because it was, in Spanish, it was No hay patria sin virtud. No hay patria sin virtud. Patria is like, the country, and obviously the regime speaks about patria a lot. Patria is, it's country or death. You either fight for your country or you die for your country. And you die for your country. But the archbishop was very, very daring that particular holiday and Christmas, and he said that in order to have a powerful country, there has to be some virtue. Virtue translated, well, it translates a little bit okay in English, but there have to be good values, like positive values that the people can relate to. Not only just to stand up and to say, hey, we are, an amazing country and we will defend the country. And so I found myself pretty interesting that in a country in which they always talk about how powerful, how much the people have to defend the country. At the same time, they don't have almost any religion and their spiritual beliefs. It's a country also very well known. I don't know if you knew that, but there's a lot of originally African practices, like, let's say, not orthodox, like more like wild. And again, I'm not familiar with the term, but there's a lot of originally African practices of which will be witchhood, or
like voodoo, and
yes,
there's some religions that are like that. Yeah,
there's a lot of that in Cuba. But anyway, so that particular country, Cuba, they don't really like gather for Christmas, but they gather for New Year's, and it's a big like party. So everybody meets for New Year's, and they organize a big, massive party, and everybody drinks the wonderful rum that they have in Cuba, and everybody eats pork meat. They tend to have their own small porks, pigs at home, and they like roast it at home. That's typically the tradition. But again, still, everybody gets together and everybody opens their heart and they say, it's worth it. It's just worth it. Let's have fun together. And it's related to the energy, also. So I really value the fact that society itself, when there's maybe not other ways of organize themselves, they organize themselves and they have fun. And it's funny that they do it around having fun and having elevated emotions, and having and opening their hearts. And I like that.
Yeah, I thank you for that story. One of the things that happens in America that I realize people get a little, like, again, for Christmas specifically, or even Thanksgiving, where it's sort of like, oh my God, it's so much work, and then it's all over in a pretty quick time, and people get stressed out, and sometimes people talk about how it's just, sort of almost a Hallmark holiday, or, like, as Charlie Brown would say, it's too commercial. And I realized, because there have been some years, I think I talked about this last week, where I haven't been with my kids. They were with their dad and I was someplace else, and my heart felt, really sad. And I thought, oh, I'm just going to kind of get through the holidays. I'm not going to, they'll be better next year. I'm just going to kind of bypass them this year. And I realized that there is something in going through the process of celebration, the preparation, and the doing. And then I'll talk about the after in a second, but the preparation is really, it activates us, it elevates us, like you were saying, but it does activate us. We're not just, humming along in our normal life. Something different is going on. Maybe we're a little stressed, maybe we're a little emotional. Will someone like this gift? Maybe, how do we get the food together? Oh, let's set the table. And yet we can look at that as a negative thing, but I actually realized by doing it and not doing it, because I used to be a very huge Christmas elf, Sunny Claus. I gave gifts to everyone, and so I spent it in a huge way and made a lot of the gifts and sewed the gifts and made stuffed animals and did all this stuff. I realized when I didn't celebrate it, there was really a loss. There was really an activation that didn't happen. And so I realized that even though we may sort of complain about it sometimes or think, oh, it's so much work, there is something really activating and wonderful about going through that ritual of something that we don't normally do. That's the point. And then when it's over, there is a completion feeling. And I want to offer to people right now the opportunity that if for any reason the holiday went by, today is the 27th in America, it's 2 days after Christmas. We celebrate on Christmas Day usually, or Christmas Eve, or both. If there's anything that you didn't do, or there isn't somebody you didn't get to see, or you didn't get to really celebrate fully, I feel that, and I'm giving myself this permission today to, because there are a few people I didn't get to feel like I still can do that, that I didn't miss the boat, that I didn't miss the opportunity. And so I invite us all to see if there's any place in our heart where we don't feel complete, where we didn't reach that person, we didn't get that gift to them. You know, it's okay, better late than never. So that's kind of what I want to offer. And like, yeah, it's different. It is different, but it's like working out a muscle, you know, it feels good after.
I agree. And to your point, it's funny because just before the show, a friend of mine from Chihuahua in Mexico texted me saying, "Hey, it's a little bit late, but hey, Merry Christmas." And I loved it. I just loved it because, you know, I love him and he's a great guy. And, you know, I know his family and, you know, and we just, so it's great to see that someone just remembers you. And that, you know, how do we keep this? So, I mean, all this ritual, all this preparation, even this sense of fulfillment, how do we get to keep it? You know, how do we get to keep it? Because
well, I think that there is an ebb and flow with it too. I think the spirit of it, like when I sang last year or last week, actually, it feels like last year. Why can't every day be Christmas? You know, the feeling of why can't every day be jolly? Why can't every day be one of good cheer? Yeah, I mean, I think that that's something that we can activate so much. I think of the Balinese people who are forever either preparing for a ritual, having a ritual, or cleaning up from a ritual. So, I mean, I think that if you're talking about the Christmas spirit, or if we're talking about the Christmas activation,
I'm talking about opening your heart in this holiday season. Because of, let's say, the excuse of it can be Christmas, it can be Hanukkah, it can be Kwanzaa, it can be, you know, you name it. But it shows that we have the ability really to get together and to probably put aside all those differences and sit around the table and, you know, and just don't take things personally and accept everything and don't be judgmental and just I mean, if we are able to do that and just allow things to happen, I think that we can really do the same thing all over the year. You know, I think that a little bit it goes down to the sense that we are all in this together. You know, that we are. A lot of people are talking about that nature is again, you know, awakening. Like nature with this tsunami, unfortunate tsunami in Indonesia and the earthquakes in Italy. And I just heard, actually, Mirna just told me that there was an earthquake in Venezuela this past evening. So I think that we are all in this together. We're all one, and all those celebrations and all this season and all the rituals, all the preparation help us to have this sense that we are all one. Mm-hmm. Really, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I really learned, and I wrote an article about this for Whole Life Times, and I read it, I think, a few weeks ago when it was around giving blood around the holidays and really listening and seeing. You were talking about getting around the table, and sometimes with people we haven't seen for a year, and sometimes with people we haven't seen for 5 hours. And we all gather. And I was talking about, and I've been doing this as an experiment myself, activating something deep within me that feels new or growth for me. Like I'm not the same. I mean, there are elements of me that are the same. I'll be like a little kid, Sunny, you know, my whole life, and have that joy that I have and enthusiasm and curiosity. And yet there are real changes I've made in my soul. And I'm really happy about that. And people, my family or people who haven't seen me for a year or so, it may not be obvious on the outside. I may not look different. I may not have cut my hair or wear different clothes to give people an idea that something's really changed, but something in my soul has. And so this season, again, I did the experiment I do where I just get together and I activate that newness in me and ask questions, you know, instead of sort of coming in and saying, oh, blah, 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 I'm doing this and I'm doing that. You know, sort of being with the people and asking my brother I haven't seen in a year questions about his life or what's happening, or my other brother or my sister-in-law, and my stepsister brought a box of Barbie, like her Barbie from when she was 6, and all the little clothes, and we all just got crazy, remembering ourselves as 6-year-olds and what we did. And so it was just so fun to bring the newness, bring the freshness, and allow the freshness from my family by asking them questions that may activate that something that they want to share that maybe isn't old and tired and we've always talked about, or a way we've always been. And so it was such a fun Christmas this year because there was a lot of that. So I invite, that spirit to be all year round, where we bring our freshness every day and we bring our newness and we look for the newness and freshness in our people that we may think, oh, we know you, we know how you're going to react or how you think about that. Allowing ourselves to be like new presents that we're opening all the time.
What would you say, Sunny, that took you to that place of feeling that you had to show that, that incredible part of you?
I felt like I wasn't seen. I really felt like when I went back to the family, when we gathered, I lived in San Francisco, so sometimes I really wouldn't have seen people in a while. And I felt like, gosh, they really think I'm who I was when I was 38 or when I was, doing that kind of work. And I was like, dagnammit, I'm not that same person. So it really came out of my own kind of, come on, I want you to see I want you to allow me to grow. I want you to allow me to be new. And I want you to celebrate it so it can actually be real and I don't want to be taken back to that other person. So it came from that. It came from that.
Would you say, because when you were saying, probably they expect me to react in a particular way, it's so true. It's like so true. We put everybody into buckets, right?
Yeah.
So most of the time we know exactly what they're going to say, how they're going to be reacting, and it's true that you chose a way which is like, let's really listen. Asking questions obviously means listening. it's making the other, giving the other the honor, the respect, and the position, and the possibility to open.
The permission, the permission, and even like you say, the opportunity. And sometimes, I've noticed that there's certain people, when I'm around them, I just feel so good. I feel so happy about myself. And when I leave, I feel better about myself. And there are other people where I feel kind of not as good after. I feel kind of sucked dry, or I feel sort of, I just don't feel as happy after that time I've spent with them. And I was thinking, what's the difference? Like you were asking me also. And it was like, what is the difference? Why do some people I feel filled up and other people I feel drained? And I realized it's when I feel heard and listened to, and when I feel like I can really, I'm given the permission to honor them too. There's space in them to let me in to honor them too. And then I feel like, yum, this is yummy. This is delicious. I want more of this. Like, let's get together again. And the other people I find, it's like another, it's just not, it doesn't feel the same. It feels like a food that doesn't feel, good in the body. I feel it in my solar plexus with people who are draining me. And in my world, sometimes people want to get at me because they want to be on our shows, or they want something from me. And I noticed that when I work with celebrities, I'm the seeker and they're the sage. And I'm working over my years. I used to be a costume designer, and I worked with, high celebrities. And I realized the difference was they're so used to having people want a piece of them, a piece of their hair, a piece of their clothes, a piece of their soul. And it was, for me, it was like, no, I want to give you something. I want to just hang out with you. I want to, offer you something maybe. And that's how I've become to be really good friends with people like Ricky or Dr. Sue or like that, because I'm so excited to give them something, to share their words, to share their love, to share, to people who may not know who they are. So that's really the difference that I've been able to define.
And a question was coming to my mind. I don't know if we will be able to answer it, or you will be able to answer, or together maybe. But when we meet with these people that you described, that maybe you feel that you're not so let's say, fed, or you're more like sucked. But you and I, we both have something in common, which I think it is, we like to help people. We like to help people that watch us and listen to us. We like to really, and you also, you publish a wonderful magazine that changes lives every single month, which is amazing. Just in case I didn't show it the other day enough. But with these people, where is our responsibility? Should we try to help them somehow? Should we try to use some of our energy? Where does our responsibility as like Mythbusters? Let me put myself into your bucket now.
Please do join me.
Thank you. Where does because I really want to, I really want to help people. And there's a lot of people like you and me watching us. They really want to help people, but sometimes they feel frustrated because, how far do I have to go? What can I do with these people that maybe I feel that they're not giving me, they're just getting out of me. But where does my responsibility end with people that need help, or I feel that they need help?
That's such a great question, and it's such a hard one, actually, because what you're asking is, I think you're asking two questions, and I'll say the other question that I feel like it is, which is, we're taught in the spiritual community, in the religious community and all that, to love all of our brothers and sisters, to respect all of our brothers and sisters, to just all of that. And I grapple with, when I'm working with people, when people come into my life where I feel that they're draining me, their energy isn't what I want to play with. I'll just say it that way. It's not fun for me. It doesn't feel productive. It doesn't feel like I really can maybe be of service. I sometimes think, well, does it mean it's okay? I don't have to play with everybody. Maybe I move that person out and I move somebody else in. So that I work with, because I think, is that, godly of me to think that way? Is that really the right way to be, quote unquote? Is that the highest use of my love and my energy to think that way? And I think sometimes yes and sometimes no. I think yes, in the way that I am one person and there are only so many people who I really can play with in my life. And it's just like there are lots and lots of healthy foods out there, but I can't eat them all in one day or I'll just, pop. So does it mean that I use my discerning energy, my wisdom, and my I don't want to say protection in a negative way, but in my discerning cleverness, what works for me in this minute, hour, day, and this particular person it does not work for me in this day, and I want to draw in perhaps another person. So I grapple with that myself, and then it is. Without mentioning any names, there's a specific person that you and I have been kind of working with recently, and trying to kind of figure that out. So I'm going to use that person in my mind to sort of answer that question. The other question is there value that I'm not seeing? Is there something I'm doing perhaps that's creating this non-flow? Is there some way I can shift myself to make the flow real? Because I do believe that everyone who's brought to me is, I just believe everyone has a beautiful heart and is doing the best they can and all that, whether they're brought to me or not. So, so to be honest with you, that's something that I kind of work with. I feel like it's an ever-flowing answer. It's not a yes or no, a good or bad, right or wrong. Yes and no forever answer. So that's my answer. What is your answer to that?
Yeah, as you said, it's not an easy one, and it's I think that being present tells you what you have to do and how you have to react. Being extremely present and being who you are. Sometimes I think that people that we might think that are not, like this expanding people, or they give so much to everybody. We try not to we really want to help them, regardless of how we feel and even our judgment about them, or we still want to help them somehow, but we just hit that wall. We hit that wall, we hit that wall, we hit that wall. So sometimes I think maybe I have to be more like tough myself. I have to be more like, hey, I have to even be more powerful. I have to multiply 15 times my aura and my energy, and then try to influence that person even more, always from a love, unconditional love point of view. So I have these two myself. I have these two different images. The one in which I have to say, come on, using my good sense of humor. Come on, you're much more than that. Come on, I can't believe that you're saying this. I mean, hey, you and I are friends, or we just met each other, but there's a reason, and because I believe like the same way you said it, there's a reason why people come to our lives. But then, so that's one way that sometimes I do. I do react like this, and I say, hey, come on, stop complaining, stop just being a victim, stop being. And again, it's everything in life is a perspective. So it's his or her perspective against my perspective, right? So that's one way I really want to react most of the time, because then I feel like I'm using more of my energy and I'm putting more of my effort. But I mean, you never know what's going to happen. Which is true is that when you find someone who is you perceive that is like attracting, getting all the feeding from your energy, which is true is that there's a wall, there's like I need this, it's like I really want it, regardless of what you're saying, Angel. This is for me, and I want you to pay attention to me, and again, it's a matter of perspective. I understand that, but sometimes it's extremely difficult because not everybody is up, and for instance, I have really close people, not here, but in my country of origin, that we've had relationships for a ton of time, and they play that role, and even through the phone, I play this role, saying, "Hey, come on, you are much more than that. You're amazing. You did this and this and this and this. This is just incredible. Come on, let's do this. Let's create. Let's not be on a survival mode. Let's be on a creation mode. Let's create something together right now that we are here. Let's not like be restrictive. Let's include everybody. Let's bring everybody. And you know how to do that because you've done so many amazing things in your life. And so that's kind of my of my answer. But that means that you really have to be present, and then you have to start using your sense of humor, which is kind of like the grease, of a mechanism, and maybe you have to use your children inside of you, as you were explaining, like, dressing up those Barbie dolls, which is a beautiful and I loved it when you were describing it. So that's my take. That's my take about this question.
Well, I love that. And then I also realize that sometimes it's not our responsibility, so sometimes that's the thing to recognize too. Maybe that this particular person or this particular situation is not mine to be activating in. And because I'm not meant to be everywhere, and so again, I think that's the discernment about, and I think it makes a difference if it's somebody like you're talking about who might be a really, really close friend. That's one situation. And I'm thinking of people who may, step into my lives through the business we do or things like that. So I feel like those are a little bit different, because when it's a family member or a friend, who really, needs something, that's a whole, that's certainly an area of our hearts that gets activated. And then when it's people, I'm looking right now at my desk, and I have 25 books around me of different people who've been on my shows and people who are friends of mine now, which is, so amazing. And some of the books speak to me and some of them don't. Some of the people speak to me and some of them don't. And I, get to choose that. So I think there's that. I'm going to tell you guys something that you and all our peeps out there, something that I learned from the amazing, incredible Dr. Sue Morter, which I think is so important and answers your question in a really elevated way. for many, many years in the spiritual community, people, many teachers, and God love them all, but they have said to us, when we go into a space that is a lot of people, or maybe what we might call negative people, or some kind of thing like that, we're supposed to put a protection around us. We're supposed to put a bubble around us. We're supposed to put an energetic field around us that protects us from the people. Well, that used to be what was taught, and it's still taught by many people. I was at a conference with Dr. Sue not so long ago, and somebody brought up this question about, what do we do when we're in a conference or we're walking down the street, and oh my God, someone's going to steal my energy, and what do I do? And how do you do the bubble or the green tube or whatever? And she said something that I'll never forget, and I think it's so elevated, and I'll tell you this now. What she said was, no, we don't need to do that. What we do is we elevate ourselves to a place where our energy, our aura, our field is so elevated that only that which is elevated around us will be attracted to us. And we elevate the energy in the room by doing that, Angel. And so when she said that, I thought, that is so 2019. That's so 2020, because it's so non-judgmental. It's so non-separate. Oh, I'm so special. I must put myself in a tube and a circle and a bubble and protect myself from those people out there. I thought, God love you, Dr. Sue, for elevating us yet again. And so I think that that's so important, and it's so real, and it's so, don't you think that's so like modern?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like taking it up a notch.
And actually, the good sense of humor is actually elevating your emotion. So it's elevating also your energy field.
Yeah.
So I think that, it happens that today I'm actually at the same time I'm having this interview. Nobody should know what I'm babysitting with one of my kids. So she's listening to me. But I think that at the elementary school, Gemma, my 9-year-old daughter, is here.
Oh.
Or 8. I think I gave her another year. So I think that in the schools of this world, that should be taught.
Yes.
That should be taught. Like how to elevate your energy. Honestly, I think that should be taught. That should be like the number one lesson. How do we elevate our energy? How do we, because it would resolve so many situations.
And isn't it so? Yeah, and it's so, when she said that, there was like this calm and relaxed sort of, oh my gosh, my shoulders kind of fell down and everything. And I hope you guys feel that out there. And of course, I'm not probably doing it, her message justice, but the idea that we don't have to protect ourselves from people, that we don't have to, we're just better than those people, or we're more spiritual, or we're more, light and they're darker, or some kind of thing. It's like, it's such a, we can just let that go. It's like we're all, again, back to we're all one. But when we say we're all one, sometimes that just feels empty words. If we don't have, sometimes it's fun to have the science behind it or the realness behind it. So what she's talking about is, it's like we're all water in a bowl. We're all water in this bowl. And it's not like, the water that's over there is colder than the water that's over here. No, we're just all in it together. And so if we can just know that and enjoy that. And the situation may be that there's a lot of different kinds of people coming that have different understandings or experiences or lessons that they've learned or practices. Some are have been yogis. It's the Dalai Lama, or it's whoever. But even as I say the Dalai Lama, I'm even going to correct myself as I'm saying that, because the Dalai Lama will look at any person right into your eyes, and there is no separation. And he is not, the Dalai Lama, and you are some peasant who's come to sit before him. He doesn't ever feel that way. So I think it's such a, those who are the most enlightened among us know this this practice. And so during these holy light days that we're in right now, for some more days, we have more days of this, we can really practice that. And I love the idea of that being taught in school. That would be bitchin', as we used to say.
That's a beautiful word. I've never heard that expression before. Can you spell it for me?
Bitchin'. Bitchen. It comes from the 60s.
Okay.
Like groovy.
Okay. Fair enough. Let me ask you a question, because we were really blessed of having Sue Morter with us once on Mindalia TV, thanks to you, obviously. And you talk a lot about her, and you have interviewed an infinite number of amazing people on your shows throughout time. What would you say that makes Sue Morter different?
What makes her different, and thank you for asking that, and it is really true, because I have, and sort of late, I have been talking about her a bit, just even in conversation to people, and what makes her special is that she is new and fresh, and she's not new in that she's been doing what she's been doing for a long time. Her dad was a practitioner doctor, and she never has gone to a regular doctor in her entire life. She's practiced her energy work for healing anything and everything, and she's had different things like a brain thing and a this or that. It's not like just a cold. She's healed. I think the reason that I like to bring her to everyone's attention as much as possible is because there is a purity and a clarity of her words and her wisdom and her message that I feel relates to all of us. Again, like the water, we're all in it together. All of the molecules that we all are of the, we're little water molecules in this big bowl. And so when she explains things to us, when she teaches things, she takes it so high and so deep. When I asked her about the environment, how to talk about that, when I asked her how to talk about the political situation, when I talk about, the pain and suffering of humans on our earth, she has a way of reaching in to the soul and the heart and the wisdom, the knowing, the information, and putting it all together in a way that we can grasp it and hold it for a while. It's not fleeting. It lands in, and it's super, super clever, as the British would say. And so I think that's why. And so I actually even had her write an article for the Whole Life Times for Christmas, for this issue. And she wrote an article called "The Holy Days: A Sacred Time of Enlightenment." And I actually will, if I can. I think I'm going to read the last paragraph that she wrote.
Of course.
During this time, these collective holiday celebrations are truly the holy days of our lives. Beyond the fear and turmoil we may witness in the outside world, the devastating fires, tragic mass shootings, or political, racial, and cultural divides, a divine light is flooding our lives and our planet at this time, which serves to ignite the truth that we are all made of love and meant for greatness. So, thank you. Cool.
Very cool. Thank you.
And this is the article with this beautiful picture. But so that would be my answer. I think that, and this is the issue this year, or this will end at December and January. But yeah, thank you for the question. And I normally don't, it's not like I'm a groupie normally. I don't sort of get into one person and get all, about them. I've actually been a person who shies away from that kind of thing. But I think because I love learning and knowledge and wisdom and science and philosophy and humor and all of that, I like to bring all of that together. And, she does that too. So I think that's why that would be my answer. I think that she can be my best gift. And oddly enough, this sounds like a really bombastic thing to say, but I've told her this, and I've told people, and I think I told you this, that if people could really could get at her practices, which is easy to do these days, YouTube, Dr. Sue Morter, boom, a bunch of stuff's there, that if we actually practiced what she speaks of, it would bring such world peace. And I know that's a hugely bombastic thing to say, but I actually believe that. Of all the people I've worked with, witnessed, chatted, been in the room with, heard, yeah, I think she's got the goods. And we can all benefit by getting those goods and having them in our lives.
Absolutely. We are finishing the year, so it's only like 3 days and a half away of ending 2018. And I really like the other day I saw a post online saying, "Don't look back, don't dwell back. Just think about the reality that you want to create in the future, and make sure that you're already living in it." So, what do you think? What do you think? What would get you excited? We're always excited in this show every day, every single day. And actually, the rest of the team, Mirna, always says that on Thursdays there's something always special happening when we talk with some really great guest. So the thing is, what do you think? Should we like try to intend for something specific for 2019 for our show? What would make you be? What would make you be extremely excited and happy? Yeah.
What a great question. Thank you. I would say to have more and more people hear our show. Of course, that would be really wonderful, so people can join with you and our guest and me. To be able to find everything that I just said about Dr. Sue in every guest, in every show, that all of our people can grasp that and have some chuckles while they listen to us, have some tears while they listen to us, and have things that we say live with them through their week. Maybe you guys chatting with other people about what we say. Oh, I heard this thought on a show, and let's chat about that when we're having coffee or when we're together in our kids groups with our moms and kids or at work. So those are kind of the small things. And of course, the big things that people feel perhaps through our shows and our guests, that something that has really been sleeping in all of us out there and all of us in here, that is time to wake up. Ding, 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 wake up already, and activate in this new year, that no matter what age we are, no matter what our circumstance is, no matter whatever we think we've done it already or it's over, it's never over. It's never over. And we always have the opportunity to circle back around or spiral up. And so that would be my wish, that we can activate peeps to do their thing. Come on, people, do your thing. Activate your thing and do it. So that's my wish. That's my intention.
Excellent. Beautiful. Yeah, so answering my own question, I'm here. Yes, I mean, obviously, I would love to be able to help a lot of people. I think every time we bring someone else, that these people themselves bring a new perspective. They bring a new perspective about life, about the universe, about issues, about problems, about blessings. And you never know which word, which statement, which sentence is going to resonate with someone in the audience that is in need of that. Just obviously being really grateful for everybody that has been watching us throughout the year, and being grateful because they have decided to stop, and they have decided to take in what our guests are bringing, or what our conversation with the guests are bringing. And again, that as we are all in this together, there's as many perspectives as people in this planet. So it's really a blessing that we are able to bring people that they themselves help a lot of people. So they already bring that kind of wisdom that we are able to maybe help them open up and share with our audience, and make people that are suffering and in pain maybe have a better life. But again, I think that the most important thing is that we are grateful for these people that have decided to stop for a few minutes that particular day, even today, and they have said, okay, let's listen to what they have to say, and let's reflect about one of those things. As you said it very well. We are, we we meet with a lot of people every single day, but are we having meaningful conversations? So we're trying to have meaningful conversations all the time here. We're trying to bring, what's around us. Both Sunny and I, we can consider ourselves probably connectors. Like, we really know a lot of people, and we are able to connect a lot of people, and that's just a blessing. It's just what we love to do. Sunny loves it, like to the moon and back, right?
I do.
Joyce, and exactly, she enjoys it all the way, and I started maybe being more public this year, and I'm obviously very blessed that I was able to start remembering one of my things, as you were saying before, helping people do this. So that's one of the things that had been sleeping inside myself, and now I see and I recognize that it was a blessing in disguise I had always had inside myself, and I was born to do it, and I was born to do it consistently. And not only that, but I was extremely blessed to have someone like Sunny to be with me every single Thursday and to share this. So yeah, I mean, bringing a lot of people, amazing people, and helping and being grateful for everybody that is watching us.
Well, thank you so much for all of that. And what came to my mind when you were speaking, or it came to my heart actually, is to add to what we're saying and what I said before is really, I also want to give people the permission to be brave, to be bold. The sleeping lions and all of us, I was saying earlier about waking up, but really to be brave and bold, to take those action steps, and to let's all give ourselves permission. Let's have a declaration that we give ourselves permission to really activate that, and to be, brave and bold in our communities. There are these little kids that are standing up. You mentioned plastics, and normally that's my conversation all day, every day, is about environment. People are like, all right already with the environment, Sunny. But if we don't have that, we have nothing for our children. So, having the bravery to be at a soccer place and, your kids are there and say, let's not bring plastic bottles anymore. To be brave to say, we're not using straws. We're not using any single-use plastics anymore. What gives us the right to use something and throw it away? And there is no away. So having the boldness and the braveness and the courage to, to have our convictions and know it's okay. And because that's one thing that I feel like we do need, is to activate our lion, and let's activate our lion. Let's come on. I see these kids doing it, and they're doing it because they're saying that the adults in the room have not taken care of them, and they've got to do it themselves, and they're 15. They should be at school and studying and learning algebra and whatever, and they're on stages, they're staying out of school, like Greta in Sweden, who's not going to school and protesting for the environment. She's like, come on, people, listen to me. So I wanted to speak about that. And I know before we leave, we also definitely want to talk about Solo Amor, which is speaking about being brave and being, lions. So do you want to go ahead?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So next Thursday, it's actually January the 3rd. And it's something really important is happening on Capitol Hill. And we have set up this, we have started this movement that we invite everybody to join. It's called Only Love Capitol Hill. And you will see, social media outlets on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We have been posting really like positive messages, basically. And, we encourage you to go there and to write your messages and to write your opinion and to endorse the movement. And we invite you to be next Thursday with us. Somehow we're going to involve everybody that wants to join us for this intention. We are basically, it's very simple. We just want to make sure that we send the love to Capitol Hill when the new House of Representatives and Senators are going to be, sworn in. So that's what we want to do. We want to make a love intention as powerful as we can.
And we know. Excuse me.
No, go ahead.
Oh, and yeah. So this is the 116th Congress that will be sworn in on January 3rd at noon on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. And so we are going to be activating focused energy wherever you guys are from 11:30 to 11:40, or I'm in California, so 8:30 to 8:40. And it is really about knowing that these people, these human beings who are going as our civil servants in this country, United States of America, are there for our good, for our children's good, for our grandparents' good, for the water, for the air, for the animals, and that they are going to be there to make the highest and best decisions, always, all the time, forward thinking, for the conflict resolution that is peaceful, for the best in every situation, always. That is what they're actually going to be doing. And you know what, guys? I know that sounds a little, but it is, human beings have done that before on our planet and in this country. With the Iroquois Nation Confederacy in this country, which is where our Constitution comes from. So it's not a pipe dream. It is a reality. It happened before. It's still happening in small places, and so it can happen in a big way. So I just want to give us that idea that it's not, we're not completely out of our minds here, that it's really already been. So yay.
Exactly.
Let's do it.
Exactly. Let's do it. And we just have to wrap up now, otherwise we'll be cut off on the video later on. So again, what an amazing conversation today. The time just went by. So thank you, Sunny, for being with us today again.
Thank you so much.
I wish you personally, I wish you the best for 2019. We're going to be together throughout this week for sure. But still, thank you very much for being with Mindalia TV and being with Mirna and with me throughout 2018. Thank you very much. And again, I wish you all the health, harmony, and prosperity possible in this dimension in the universe, and to enjoy it together in 2019.
Back to you, my dear friend.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And again, this is Angel Rebo with Mindalia TV. Thank you very much for being with us today. It was a pleasure to have Sunny again today. And, see you soon. Have a wonderful end of the year and happy 2019. In the name of Mindalia TV, hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.